day, good morning. I hope you guys are, excited about a new week, new goals to be accomplished, new things to do. I am your host, Jerisha Hawk. This is the Hawk Hustle Morning Show. As you can tell, I'm a little tired, but so is life. I'm a high-ticket sales coach, business consultant, and I help service-based business owners package, position, and sell their, a high ticket offer consistently. Hey guys, I see you guys popping in. Thank you guys. You like the hair. Thank you. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Today I just did a post on Instagram talking about you don't need more motivation or inspiration, you need discipline. And discipline really is going to be the deciding factor on like the progress you make in your life, the goals that you accomplish in your life. It is really about discipline. And discipline doesn't normally feel good all the time. Discipline doesn't feel safe all the time. Discipline, it is a conscious and intentional choice that you have to make on a consistent basis in order for you to progress and grow. And one thing, I guess we'll talk about discipline from the perspective of as you are growing. I think a lot of, I want to get an idea who feels like they're just getting started and who feels like they've already gotten started, but they need to grow. Like, which stage are you guys in today? The vast majority of you guys who are catching this live right now, and that's the direction that we will move in for this convo. Like discipline in the sense of I'm in the beginning stages, or are you guys kind of already you guys already got started and you're like more so how do I'm looking to grow. So I know some of you guys are in the beginning stages, and so many of you guys have been sliding in my DMs specifically this past weekend talking about how do I get started, where do I begin, like blase. And I'm seeing most of you guys right now are in the growth stage. I see one for in the beginning, but my commentary for you guys, if you're just in the beginning stages, and people are like, well, how do I get started? I'm in the very, very beginning. I don't know how to get started. The number one thing I want to tell you is I think a lot of the time people think, okay, I'm getting started. They're like, what am I good at? And I think that's kind of like a piece of advice we hear people ask all the time. Well, go ask your friends and family, what are you good at? Go ask your current employer, what are you good at? Think about what you're good at. Have you guys heard that before? And they're like, make a list of all the things that you're really, really good at. And that should be a place where your starting point is. And they say, well, what is your passion? Align what your passion is with what you're really good at. And that's where you need to get started. That's where your focus should be. And I think that advice is misleading. And the reason being, and why I think you need to exercise discipline when you're thinking about what am I good at? What am I passionate about? And just taking people's advice when they say, start with what you're good at, start with what you're passionate about. Because I do believe that we all have passions. Now, and I do think that we have a responsibility to exercise and bring to fruition the calling that God has put on your life. And I'm identifying your calling. I think sometimes that can be misconstrued of what's my passion, what's my calling, all of that. But a lot of the time we hear people say, do what you're good at. And I think that advice is misleading, because when it comes to building a business, starting a business, growing a business, you should do the thing that you're excellent at, not the thing that you're just good at. Because a lot of the time the thing that you're good at, there's a lot of things that you're very good at. So then you end up doing all these things that you could be doing. Well, I could sell this. I could sell this. I could offer this. I could help them with this. I could help them with that. And then you end up being stretched and all over the freaking place. Can anybody relate to that? Right? You are stretched. You're all over the place because you're doing what you're good at and you're doing what you can do. And the best business models, a lot of the time, especially when you're at a point where you're trying to get to a place of consistent revenue, right? Like if you're right now not at a place of consistent revenue, if you are at a place right now where you're not making consistent 4 figures a month from your business, or from whatever it is outside of your paycheck, I still think you're growing, like you're beginning, right? Because if beginning, I don't care how long you've had the idea of starting your business. I don't care how long you've been thinking about your business. That doesn't mean just because you've had that idea for 4 years does not mean that you're in growth stage because you've been at it for 4 years, right? Like, we need to look at the numbers, and that was what will determine whether or not we're beginning, growing, starting, whatever. So if you are not at a place yet where you're making consistent revenue, I just invite you to exercise discipline on, don't do just what you're good at. Like, you should really focus on what are you excellent at, and sell the thing that you are excellent at. And the thing that you are excellent at may not be your like lifetime legacy thing that you want to be known for, right? Mainly because, and mainly because the thing that you are excellent at may be the thing that makes you enough money to fund the passion that you have. Every passion is not a business model. Some passions are. Some passions end up being business models, and you're able to end up making a crap ton of money off of it. That does happen. I don't think it happens for everybody though. So like, and it's not the case across the board. So the thing, like, instead of focusing on the thing that you're good at, I want you to focus on the thing that you are excellent at. And the thing that you are excellent at, that should be the thing that you actually try to package and sell. And that takes discipline, right? It's very easy to do the thing you're good at, because it really doesn't make you like stretch. It does not call you to operate at a higher level of integrity. It does not call you to operate from a higher level of excellence, right? Because you're just good at it. Like, I mean, I can do that. And then you kind of, you throw it together, you'll half-ass it, you'll rummage it up, you'll wait until the last minute to prepare, you'll always be a couple minutes late, not a big deal. I was just a couple minutes late, but you're consistently a couple minutes late because you're just good at it. Versus that, like, focus on the thing that you are excellent at and exercise discipline around the thing that you are excellent at. Because if you can do that, the thing that you are excellent at, like I mentioned just a moment ago, may be the thing that generates enough revenue for you to fund your passion. But every passion does not need to be a business model. And so there needs to be, so I want to drop that gem on perspective of discipline if you're in the beginning stages, right? I want to drop that gem because in the beginning, it's very easy to get caught up in what am I good at? What am I passionate about? That's where I should start. And I feel as if that advice is misleading. I know it was misleading for me in the beginning. It's like, because I'm really good at empowering people. I'm really good at listening to people's problems and helping them overcome their challenges. And then I start a business saying, I want to be, I want to just help people achieve goals. And it's like, what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm good at that. Well, what are you good at? Like, I'm good at lighting a fire under people's butts. Like, I'm good at, getting people motivated and excited. But like, that is a byproduct of things that I'm excellent at, right? That is a byproduct of things that I'm excellent at. I'm not good at those things. I'm good at X. And because I'm really excellent at X, the byproduct is people are more motivated. People are more inspired. People are more empowered. Right? So I think we have to make sure that we are exercising discipline and discernment to be able to navigate between, is this thing that I say that I'm good at actually a byproduct of the thing that I'm excellent at? And, or is this just something I'm good at, but that doesn't mean it needs to be a business? Right? So that's the first thing I really want to share when it comes to people who are this is really speaking to the folks that are in the beginning stages. And when I say beginning, I'm just saying that in the sense that if you have not yet figured out what will generate you consistent 4 figures a month revenue, there's probably a disconnect with where your discipline is being exercised and what you choose to put your focus and attention on. Okay? Because if you are putting your focus and attention on something that you were excellent at, and also learning how to sell the thing that you are excellent at, i.e. there'd be a byproduct of consistent revenue, or at least more revenue coming in. Does that make sense? Is this connecting with you guys? Throw some hearts up on the screen, or double tap, or share the video, or do all the things if this is resonating with you. And then the other perspective I want to share with you guys this morning is and if you guys have any questions about what I'm sharing, or like, do I need more clarification? Like, I hear you, but like, help me understand better, just pop the question in the comments. But the other caveat, so let's say you're not at the beginning stages. Maybe you're already at a point where you're making consistent revenue in your business. What does discipline need to look like at that phase? Right? What does discipline need to look like at that phase? I think that's the one that many of us, we like, What does your discipline need to look like when you have the things that you used to pray for, right? How does discipline need to be exercised and like expressed when you actually have the things that you prayed for, that you have, that you're in the position that like you had the goal and then you reach the goal, and what does your discipline need to look like once you've reached the goal? And that one is tricky. I don't think it's tricky, but it's just new for many of us. Many of us have started over and over and over and over again. I think, it's more rare to get to the place where like I set this goal, I achieved the goal. What does my discipline need to look like at this phase? I think that's the uncharted territory that many of us fall into. Or the uncharted territory that many of us, I don't say fall into, but many of us end up journeying through, right? So this is where we talk about like the new money phase. Like that's the new money phase. And you might be new money where like, oh, I'm at a point now where I'm converting, I converted my first $4,000 client. I'm at a new money phase now where I quit my job and I'm full-time for myself. I'm at a new money phase now where like I got the place of employment that I wanted. I got the job that I wanted. And now this job, I have enough money to cover my bills. I have enough money to live my lifestyle. It's like, what do I do with this little bit of excess? And I want to talk about discipline from the perspective of the excess, the extra, the abundant, the more than, right? And like, how do we exercise discipline when we actually are at a comfortable space in our life? Because I think a lot of the time, many of us subconsciously will spend the money, spend the time, waste the money, consume the money, consume the time, consume the extra time that we have available because we don't know what to do with the excess, right? Like we have more than, like we're at a place now where we're making more money than maybe we were before, or we are converting more clients than we had before, or it's like, what do I do with this extra? What do I do with my extra time versus blowing it or wasting it? What do I do with my extra money? Like my mindset is growing. I'm able to exercise my mental capacity at a larger level. What do I do with the excess, right? And that also requires discipline, because a lot of the time, and this is very true for me, and this is something that I had to work through, is like when I started making more money, I had more anxiety and more stress in my life when I actually had more money in my life. And I think there's a lot of studies that talk about this, and a lot of the time where it's like when people like more money, more problems. We've heard Biggie say that I don't know how many times. And I think the reason why you have more money and then you have more stress is not because money is the root of all evil, but it's not because I fell in love with money. It is because I have this excess of a resource that I don't know what to do with it. And because of these limiting beliefs or money fears that I have around going back into poverty, going back to where I was so like hungry and ready to get away from, I now have stress because like I'm scared or fearful that I'm going to go back into the lack state that I came from, or that I'm going to blow my money like what I've seen in my family. The second somebody gets money in my family, they blow it, right? That's a fear of mine, that I don't want to be a misuse or have a misuse or be a bad steward of my money, because I don't want to go back to living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to go back to like just having enough. So you have this excess of money or excess of time or excess of whatever it is, and you can feel this higher level of stress and worry and doubt, mainly because it's not because like you're in a better state, meaning like money is just a resource, guys. Like money is just like, you never complain about having too many water bottles at a party. Like you never complain about having access to like too much food. Like it's a resource. It's just something that we need to sustain the quality of life that we have here. Like it's just all it is. But because of this excess, we can lack discipline, because we will keep putting ourselves in a financial state that we don't want to be in, right? The second you have, like, y'all heard the sayings like, this money blowing, like it's burning my pocket. I can't remember what grandmas used to say. Like the second you get some money, you don't know how to hold on to it. Like it's just burning a hole in your pocket. And it's because of this discipline that we have not learned how to exercise at this new level, right? You have this excess of something. So then every Friday, you just feel the need that you got to buy a booth at the club. And it's like, why? Well, because I don't know what to do with this extra money. I'm not used to having excess money. So I'm going to not exercise discipline. I'm just going to blow it and get back into the comfortable state that I'm used to, which is not having enough. So then come Monday, the money's gone. Whether you're buying the booth at the club, popping bottles on weekends, like having extravagant meals out, right? I didn't know how much drinks cost nowadays. I'm like, a cocktail is $14? Like, don't go to friends, don't go out with 3 people and pick up the tab. You drop somebody's paycheck, from McDonald's from one day, that's $75, and you're not even talking about the food, right? Or maybe you're the shopper. Every weekend you go to the mall. Every weekend you got to get a new pair of shoes. Every weekend, like every other week, you're buying a whole new set of bundles. Like, sis, what is going on? Every weekend you got a new frontal on, right? Every weekend you do something to put you back in the same state that you literally got yourself out of. And that is because of a lack of discipline. And I just want to say that exercising discipline comes with discomfort. It will feel uncomfortable. Like, it will make you concerned. Like, you will feel like, right? You will feel this hesitation. But discipline from that perspective of, like, how do I need to be, like, now that I have excess of money, how can I better spend my time? How can I better spend my money? And like, money is just when you really think about money, I want you to think about it like electricity. It is a current, hence why it's called currency. Money is a current. It is supposed to flow. You are not supposed to hoard your money. You are not supposed to hoard your money and just put all your money in a shoebox underneath the bed. Like, the money is not supposed to be hoarded. Money is a currency. It is a current. It is supposed to flow. There's supposed to be money going in, money going out. Like, you should be operating from a space of abundance, not a space of scarcity. Like, money is supposed to flow. But if your money is constantly flowing in the direction of lack of discipline, if your money is constantly flowing in the direction of feeding my comfort, which my comfort is not really in service of me, it's just a lack mindset that I come from, and that's all that I know. That's not where your money should be. Like, that's not where the current should be flowing. Alicia, money is just when I think so many of us have been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but like, we've been taught that money is a bad thing, especially in Black culture, especially in a lot of religious environments. Because people misconstrue, like, oh, the root of all evil is money. Like, well, I'm not saying you got to be in love with money and like do bad things for money. I just mean money is a resource. Like, it is something that we all have to have. I don't care. We live in America. We live in the 21st century. Like, the way that our society is structured, money is just a resource. But money is a current. Just like any other resource, it flows, it ebbs and flows, like plants. Oxygen is a resource that we need to survive. We get that resource from plants. Plants grow, they die, they come back in one season, they die in another. Like, it just is a resource. It flows, right? Money is the exact same way. It is a resource. It is a current. Like, it is a form of, like, it just moves, it flows. Like, that is how it's supposed to. But I just think when this new money phase, when we start getting new money, and then we have excess, right? We have more than what we're used to ever having. We can not know how to, we just keep putting ourselves back into a state of lack subconsciously. Like we'll spend the money on things that are more of consumption-based purchases versus investment-based purchases. And you're like, well, where did my money go? It's like, look at all the handbags you just purchased. I can't do, like, that's not where, I'm not saying don't treat yourself. I'm not saying don't enjoy the money that you have. But I'm just saying that we have to learn how to exercise a greater level of discipline. And what does that discipline need to look like based off of what season you are in? I mean, I'm always going back to this reference of seasons and understanding what season that you are in, because the choices that you make in the season that you are in will look very different as you progress into different seasons, right? Like, when somebody's in a season of, they make $7, $10, $15 million a year, the choices that they make, you can't mimic the choices that they make because they're in a different season than you. They have a different level of access to resources than you. Like they're like people like, you know, like their time, like their time, their money, their energy they're at a different season. So their harvest looks different. How they harvest their crops will look different than maybe you who are in the beginning stage, right? Us, we all in the beginning stages. So how we exercise our discipline will look different based off the season that you are in. So like that's why I keep educating you guys on this and speaking to this, because your level of awareness is so critical to your achievements and your success, right? The more aware you are on where you are, on what season you're in, and because I'm in this season, that means that these resources are what I need to harvest this crop, right? So if you know what crop you need to harvest, you can get a better idea of what resources do I need and what choices and decisions do I need to be making to make sure that I'm fed from this harvest. But you can't mimic what somebody else's like farmland looks like, right? Because they're at a different season than you. So it's just, I just really want to encourage you guys today to focus on where you need to be more disciplined. And if you're like, well, I don't know where I need to be more disciplined, look at the places that make you feel most uncomfortable. Look at the places that like you've been feeling resistance around it, but you still won't talk about it with your spouse. Or you still won't like be honest with yourself. Or if you notice that you keep putting yourself in the same position over and over and over again, and you're like, well, if you're like, where are you feeling like a sense of just being sick and tired? That's like probably a really good indication on where there's a lack of discipline around that, right? Like I know a lot of the time it's money. For most people, it is money. Or it's like, well, I need like, whatever it is. I know for a lot of us, it's money. Finances is always a big thing. But wherever that is for you, start to become more aware of where you need to be exercising a greater level of discipline. Whether you're in the beginning stages, mid stages, growth stage, like we've got to become more aware. And like, you don't need any more motivation. You do not need any more inspiration. Like, honey, there's enough of it going around, right? Every Beyonce song we listen to, we are now inspired, right? Every Cardi song I know I listen to, I am now motivated. Like, but we need to start exercising more discipline, And when I say exercise, I'm using that word intentionally because it has to be an action. It is a verb. It is something that you need to do you will sweat. It will be work. It will feel hard. It will be uncomfortable, but it is in the highest service of yourself, right? Consistency is not your struggle. Most of you guys are very good at consistency. Everybody on here is good at consistency. So this is sincerely Shan. She said, consistency is my struggle. You are very consistent. Do you pay your bills on time every month? That is consistency. Do you wake up every morning and brush your teeth? That is consistency, right? You are already very consistent. You just may not be consistent at the things that you want to be consistent at. Like you're already consistent at probably a poor habit or a poor action or a poor decision. Like you probably make a decision that doesn't serve you consistently well. So it's not that you're not consistent. I don't want you to feed that belief to yourself that you're not consistent. That is not true. I don't believe it to be true. But you just have to change your habit around what you choose to be consistent at. Like I know I consistently eat Hostess powdered donuts when I know good and well I don't need to be doing that on as frequent of a basis as I do it now. I can choose to change that for something else, maybe some carrot fries, right? You're not inconsistent. It's just maybe right now you may need to swap, like you consistently do something that just doesn't serve you. You don't lack consistency. But like sincerely, Shan, where do you struggle with, like what do you want to be more like what am I trying to say? Where do you want to be more consistent? What's the thing right now that you feel or have a belief around that you're not consistent at? Right? I know some people are like, well, Jay, I don't consistently save, but you consistently spend. If you can consistently spend, you can consistently save, right? It's just, so she's like, I'm not consistent with my content creation. Who else can relate to that? A lot of the reason why you're not, you have to peel back the layers. Why do I not have discipline around my content creation? Well, is there a fear of you putting yourself out there? Is there a lack of clarity around what offer you're actually selling? So you don't want to put more content out there because you don't actually know what you want people to do when they consume your content. Like, it's not that you lack consistency around the thing. It just may mean that you lack preparation to do that thing well for you to be consistent at it. So I would start peeling back the layers. She's saying that I'm not consistent with content creation. I'm not consistent with saving money. I'm not consistent on working on my passion. But there's usually a reason why. A lot of the time we make this idea of I want X, but we don't give ourselves the resources to be prepared to go do X. So then it's like, well, why can't you be consistent with it? Well, you're not equipped to go do it. Think about if you're about to go cook. I always use cooking as a reference. Because, even though I don't really cook that often. But let's say you come home one day and you're like, I want to make lasagna. And every day I keep saying, I'm going to go home and I'm going to make lasagna. I'm going to go home and I'm going to make lasagna. But you have yet to go to the grocery store. You have yet to find a recipe. You have yet to purchase the ingredients. But every day I'm not consistent because I just keep saying I'm going to do make this lasagna, and I keep not doing it. You're not prepared to make it. And hear what I just said. You have to go to the grocery store, meaning that you have to take an action. Go to a place that provides the resource that you need. You need to buy ingredients. There has to be an investment in something. A lot of the time, whether it's you buying the food, you hiring the coach, you purchasing the book, right? There's normally something that you have to learn, do, grab, get. And then I need a recipe to follow. Meaning that you need a step-by-step process of somebody giving you instructions, telling you what you need to do when in order for you to get the result. You don't lack consistency, you lack preparation. Sincerely, Shan, for you, that is not a consistency issue. That is just pure, you just have lack of preparation. And because you're not prepared, that is what's causing you to not get the result that you want. So I don't want you to feed yourself this misconception, because you are not inconsistent. And then a lot of us will get caught up on saying we're inconsistent. We will start to believe that, and that now will become the excuse as to why we don't get what we want. You guys get what I'm saying? You have to be prepared. And what I mean by being prepared is do you have all the resources you need to be successful? Right? A lot of the time, many of you guys are not creating consistent content because you don't know what the purpose of the content is. You don't know what action you want people to take. You don't have anything to sell. And you don't want to be wasting your time just creating content. Somebody mentioned to me the other day, Jay, I don't want to bring more people to my business. I don't want to draw more attention to myself because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm selling. Well, then go figure out what you need to be selling. Go package your offer. You sitting there playing around it just in your own mind isn't going to make that come to fruition. You can't manifest a lasagna being baked tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. Right? So it's not a lack of consistency. Many times it's just a lack of preparation. And when it's a lack of preparation, it's because you haven't gone to the grocery store. You don't have a recipe. You have no idea what ingredients you need to even cook the thing that you want to cook. So sincerely, Satious, I actually have all the resources. I just don't execute. So maybe you have all the ingredients, but do you have a recipe to follow? So it's all very simple. So much of life is so symbolic. It's all one and the same. So she's like, I have all the resources. So maybe that means you have all the ingredients, but do you have a recipe? Do you have a game plan? Do you have a step-by-step? Step 1, do this. Add this much, do this much. Step 2, do this. Bake it for this long. So if you have all the resources, the main reason why you may be lacking discipline around executing is because you don't have a recipe to follow. Many of you guys already have the ingredients on what you need for your business to be successful. You just don't have the game plan. You don't have the recipe. You need a framework to follow. That's all it is. It's like it's like 3 things that allow you to go make. You have to have the idea. You have to know what you want to cook. You have to have a clear result that you want to achieve. I want lasagna. 2, where do I need to go to get the ingredients for the lasagna? What are the ingredients that I need? Then you go to the store, buy those things. Or maybe, you know, whatever. Maybe you already have acquired the ingredients because they are already skills that you have. 3rd, you need to have a recipe. And you have to have, like, those things are like, you don't have to have a recipe. You could just throw stuff in a pot and like do trial by error. That is an option. You could do trial by error. So then at that point, it's really just a choice. Do I want to do trial by error, or do I want to pay and buy a cookbook? It's just a choice at that point. But this is where, like, you guys understand the theme here of what I'm saying about discipline. Because let me Google what discipline, like the true definition of discipline. Let's look. Let's pull the dictionary up. So discipline is a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. Discipline as a verb is train someone to obey rules or a code of behavior. Okay, that's the same thing. Okay, here's another version of discipline. Control gained by enforcing obedience or order. Ah! And I love the word obedience because it's like, are you being disciplined to your flesh, or are you being disciplined to God? Are you obeying your flesh, or are you obeying what God has called you to do? Maybe you don't lack discipline. Maybe you're very disciplined in the flesh, but you are not disciplined on the thing that you've been called to be disciplined on. Discipline also means orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. Discipline means self-control. So I don't want to just throw out this word. I want you guys to understand the meaning behind it. Self-control. Orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. None of that is unintentional. Orderly, there are steps. Prescribed mean that you have been diagnosed. Pattern of behavior, that there is frequency in which how you make your decisions. Control, gained by enforcing obedience or order. So understand, like, you guys, I'm seeing like a ton of hearts shooting up on the screen. But you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Like, there is just, you don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You need discipline. And a lot of the time, for you to be successful, for whatever it is that you need to make, do, have, be, if you want a healthier relationship with your spouse, if you want a healthier relationship with yourself, if you want to make more money, if you want to grow your business, if you want to be a better parent to your children, like if you want to lose weight, like, stop overcomplicating it. Right? You need a prescribed process for you to follow. Get very clear on what the end result is going to be. Get very clear on what ingredients are needed for you to have it. Get very clear on, are you going to do trial by error, or are you going to buy a recipe? You need to be prepared. Like, stop waking up every day saying, I want X. I want to have a healthy relationship with my spouse, but you won't go to counseling. You won't read a book. You won't listen to a podcast. The relationship isn't going to just fix itself, right? And for those who are saying, well, Jay, I'm just going to pray about it. Prayer is a verb. It is something that you do, right? Faith is a verb. It is something that you do. Praying about it alone will not solve the problem. You have to pray and then get in action. Speak to God. Pray before you pursue, but then go pursue. Like, you have to do things. Like, it is a verb. It is something that you do. It is not like you cannot just wait in faith. Well, I'm going to just wait until God fixes it. He told you to walk in faith, which means that you have to move. You have to travel. You have to journey. It is something that you do. It is not some passive activity. Prayer is not a passive activity. That's a quotable, like tweet that. Prayer is not a passive activity. Right? Like, so we gotta be better. We gotta do better. And like, I'm not saying that your life is gonna change tomorrow. Now that you know this, now you know better, you're gonna do better. Like, let's be honest. All I'm shooting for is 1% incremental enhancements day by day. How can I just be 1% better? How can I get one thing done better? How can I exercise discipline just once today better than I did yesterday? I'm just asking for micro wins. Micro wins. Even if you just exercise discipline where you made the right decision, the obedient decision just once every single day. At the end of the year, that's 365 acts of positive discipline, positive obedience. You can't tell me your life won't be at a better state after 365 times of just doing one thing right every day. Your situation will have to enhance. But all I'm talking about is just micro wins. Micro wins. That is it. Micro wins. K-Page Manager said you're like a productivity strategist. Like, when people, like, at least I don't look at myself like a productivity strategist. In order for you to be successful, like, you need to have discipline. You need to be like, we only have so many resources available to us in a day. Like, again, being productive is just a byproduct of me being disciplined. My productivity isn't the thing that I'm successful at. My discipline is the thing that I'm successful at. A byproduct of me being disciplined is me being productive, is me winning, is me motivating, is me making more money, is me having a greater impact. Those are just byproducts, in my opinion. But like, you have to start making these micro wins. Exercise discipline at a greater level. That's all I'm saying, guys. Like, that's just my perspective. I appreciate that, though. If y'all look at me as like, I need to go listen to Jay because I need me to be more productive today, come grab from the well. Like, come drink from the well. Because a lot of the time, like, it's just discipline. It is discipline, and it is a choice of being like obedient. It's very simple, but it's like difficult to practice. Obedience and discipline. That's really all it boils down to. Anything that you want in life, if you can choose to be obedient to the right call, obedient to what God has called you to do, and then be disciplined, you will achieve anything and everything that you want. And that's just what I believe. So I hope you guys have a blessed day. If this was beneficial for you in any capacity and you feel like somebody else needs to hear this, please share this on your timeline. Take a screenshot, tag me on Instagram, tell people to go listen to today's IG Live. This is on Facebook, so if like you need to listen to this again, if anybody's always like, Jay, are you going to be saving this IG Live? Guys, I typically dual stream on my Facebook page and on Instagram. So if you ever need to go back and listen, go like my Facebook page, and you can go listen to all of these. And again, so that's what I got for you guys. I just want that's what I encourage you today. That's your call to action today. Just what is one thing that you can do to exercise discipline? That might mean, instead of me going to Starbucks, I put that $5 in savings, right? Instead of spending an hour on Netflix, I go take a walk outside for an hour. Like, because I know that that's where I need to be disciplined. If, you're like Shan on here where she has all the resources, she just doesn't have the recipe. It's like, just what is the first step? What is one action I can take today? Not even a full step. What's one action I can take today? One action I can take today. Just one. Write that down. Accomplish that one thing. Tomorrow, pick one thing. And then we're going to just build upon that. So you guys have a great, great, great day. Oh, let me screenshot in case you guys want to screenshot. Take a pic. Pose for the camera now. Pic. Okay. Okay, screenshot that. Tag me on IG stories. Share this on Facebook. Do all the things. Love you guys. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.